Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to listen to this episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast, where we discuss and celebrate our favorites in TV and film. I'm your host, Xavier. I can't wait to talk about this one in particular, but let me go ahead and introduce my fellow panelists. We have Anthony.
Hello.
You've got our data guy, Danny.
What's up?
Look at that alliteration right there. And the young kid, Zach.
Howdy.
So if you haven't been following, so what we've been doing is starting with, I believe it was Fast 10. We have kind of gone through some of like the big kind of tentpole blockbuster movies of the summer and of this year, 2023. And this time along, we're going to be talking about the long-awaited and really much hyped up next installation in the Mission Impossible franchise. So with that being said, we may be going into, not maybe, we are definitely going into some spoiler territory, considering we got to see an early showing of the movie just a few days before the actual release. So this will be coming out pretty fast. Again, major warning, if you're listening to this and you have not seen the movie yet, we highly encourage you to go and watch it. That way you can be more informed, as well as kind of share in some of your experiences. If you like spoilers and you don't mind, then strap on in, grab your parachute, and be ready to jump off the mountain cliff of spoilers. So, this movie is, at first I was really hesitant to see that it's going to be as basically a two-parter. So we get basically the movie is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. So the 7th movie in the franchise. Part 2 is technically the 8th, but like really it should just be 7, but split into
7,
2.
7.5.
Yeah, 7, 7.5. Good job, Zach. And I think, this movie franchise really got invigorated, partly because of, Tom Cruise's enthusiasm for it, but also I think really starting after like Mission Impossible 3, where just like the series like got injected like a sort of like new like vigor and life, like this a lot of kind of frenetic action and pacing that just really like rose the stakes up high up. I know, Danny, you went and rewatched like the first 4 just to kind of see that progression, right? Some of your thoughts so far with like how the franchise progressed?
Yeah, definitely. I rewatched the first 4. They were on Pluto, where you could actually watch it this whole month of July, 1 through 4.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they figured the release was coming this month, so why not? But yeah, I mean, I had seen the original 3 plenty of times growing up, but the first one is just like a very classic,
action spy thriller.
Like, just what it was meant to be.
Yeah, you have your iconic wire going down. Jean Reno's holding on to Tom Cruise while he's trying to steal the knock list from
with that theme,
Langley.
like
1996.
1996, catching the bead of sweat with his hand. Dude, I love that part. There's a lot of iconic
super
scenes.
young Tom Cruise.
Yep. Like the whole mission going awry from the beginning, and Ethan Hunt getting pinned for it, but he's got to figure out everything, and so he
find out the whole mystery of it.
Yep.
So it's a good first entry for sure.
100%.
And then we move on to the second one, which total change.
Tonal shift. Yeah. Tonal shift.
Kind of weird action, slow motion shots.
It tried to be too actiony, and not like that there was the spy thriller of it was. I didn't.
But
really,
it's like that 2000s cheesy action.
Damn.
Yeah, it came out in 2000.
Yeah.
So
that John Woo is a little hurt now. No, I'm kidding. But it it has that like it's trying to be more of like a bombastic action movie with like the cool motorcycle chase, and then like the whole But like the plot's kind of cool, but if it was framed and done better, I think the movie would have been more better received, I think. But it was scary because like it made money, but it might have like also like put the franchise at like a complete stop.
Risk.
Yeah.
And then we got 3, which I actually like. This was my favorite for a while from the trilogy, directed by J.J. Abrams, and that was a cool take on the franchise, like a different.
I still think Philip Seymour Hoffman was one of the better villains of the whole whole thing.
For sure.
Yeah, this the whole like they try to take him out, but then he gets released and he's like, "I'm gonna make your life hell. Like I'm gonna take everything for like
that was, revenge."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like this dude came.
It got dark.
Yeah,
at times.
And then that was the movie where like he basically like. What was it? Didn't that the movie where he stopped his heart for like 5 seconds? He basically like died for like 5 seconds and came back. I was like, holy like that was legitimately like thrilling. And with Abrams' style, like of the way like, and you see it later on like in his version of Star Trek. Like there's just like he can frame that action really well, like the running and
I thought you were gonna say lens flares.
Yeah, that too.
There was lens flares. Yeah, but yeah, it's a great entry. Like it brought it back.
Married.
Well, yeah, J.J. Abrams does have like a style of filming.
Yeah, but it was great. It brought it back. Yeah.
But then where this series really kicks it up is 4, 5, and 6.
Dude,
like those are just top notch.
Ghost Protocol.
Dude, okay. Anthony and I were in the theater at an actual IMAX theater. I forgot what movie we were watching, but they showed a preview of the whole Burj Khalifa scene.
Yeah,
and it was just looking at that screen, like it's just there's so much tension, and then you realize, oh wait, Tom Cruise did this for real. Wow. To the point where like he had to fire his insurance company because they were just not gonna insure. Like, no, we're not doing that. It's like, all right, fine, get someone else who will.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, we're like, and even so, because like he was already gonna do it himself, but like that company's like, no, we can't risk that. No, like we can't pay out an insurance if you die. He's like, well, then I'll find someone else who can. Yeah. But he went and did it, and then that started the trend.
Well, that one was Brad Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So it's still kind of continuing the trend of having a different director for each one, which I think is kind of cool because then you get different takes and different styles.
Brad Bird had a cool style for it, for sure.
Because I mean,
it's really cool.
With when J.J. Abrams came on board, like the direction the films were going in started to change. But then it was this one that really cemented what it is now.
But it helps understand the whole fact that like all of these movies, like they have these great, awesome, like practical set pieces, but it's still this whole like, oh, we have to go over the top to stop this impossible mission. Like this is literally Mission Impossible. Like
the organization is literally Impossible Mission.
Yeah, the Impossible Mission Force. Like, and it's the point where like it feels that like it's always kind of one-upping and going higher up and higher up and higher up and raising the stakes. Like Ghost Protocol was like, oh snap, there's like nukes going off. Rogue Nation is like,
nukes going off.
Was it nukes going off?
I think so.
No, I remember basically like is the whole idea of
it's the whole thing with the syndicate.
Yeah,
and, like,
well, that's the thing. The
organization,
the syndicate as a villainous organization was legit. I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, good. Now we have a counter to the IMF. Like this is really dope.
But Rogue Nation, Fallout, and now Dead Reckoning were all directed by Christopher McQuarrie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like they developed a really good shorthand to be able to kind of go with these. And Chris McQuarrie is like, I'm gonna trust Tom's vision and his enthusiasm for wanting to really create like spectacles to watch in the theater, which in the end leads us to Dead Reckoning. And overall, like it's great to see there's newcomers. We have, as well as like the recurring cast like Ving Rhames. You have obviously Simon Pegg as Benji.
Rebecca Ferguson.
Coming back from my favorite. I love Rebecca Ferguson. I just have to say that. I have to put this out there. Like she's captivating. Even as a villain.
Go watch Greatest Showman.
Greatest Showman. Yeah. Even in Dr. Sleep, which she's basically the villain in that movie. Like she's just like got charisma.
That was an underrated sequel. I like it.
Yeah, it's really good. But like there's just like she can add depth, but she's also captivating and like even in a movie like an action sequence, like it's just like. She brings so much to the character of Ilsa Faust that like there's so many layers and like there's always the spy game of like ulterior motives, and I think the movie did a really good job of continuing that. But also, we get newcomers in, Haley Atwell.
Agent Carter.
Yeah. Also, Esai Morales. Dude, he's like, if you've seen him in Ozark, you already know he's good. If you've seen him in Titans, I guess.
He's Titans.
Yeah, he's Deathstroke.
Who was he in Ozark?
He was, I thought he was Del. Del from the cartel?
Maybe.
Not maybe. I'm pretty sure.
No, I just don't remember.
Yeah, like if you go into it, like it was.
Is that the early seasons?
Season 1, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's Del.
Okay, because
he's
I'm
so
thinking
good.
of the guys from the later seasons.
No, not those guys. But no, he was Del, and he was so good in that. But yeah, he's also in Titans, I believe, as Slade. And
that's awesome.
Called that. So, and he does, like, basically, main plot of the movie is that there's this rogue. We're talking about rogue, not Rogue Nation. It's a rogue AI that basically, if you've ever seen the entire show of Person of Interest, you'll kind of get a general idea. But it's a rogue AI that was developed that kind of becomes sentient and uses the destruction of a Russian submarine to kind of free itself, so it can go off and basically wreak havoc and go through self-preservation. And it uses human agents. One of them is Gabriel, played by Esai Morales, and he pulls that off extremely well. Where, like, it's not so much that like you can tell he's following orders from what they call the entity in this movie, but he delivers his lines in that character's own kind of intimidating, borderline like sadistic delivery. And we get it established where Ethan explains that
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel is someone who relishes in causing suffering, as someone who's like a high-end agent, but is also a real douchebag. So it establishes our villain pretty well. And then like the movie starts straight up with
the submarine
action
sequence.
Yeah. I liked it how, I think maybe I was the only one out of all of us, but when the submarine sequence, when they're talking about where they are, since they use the term called dead reckoning, determining how much distance they traveled, and that's their location. So they use dead reckoning instead of just sonar and satellites. And it's funny, I was like, title of the movie. I was pointing right at it. But yeah, that sequence at first was like, this is interesting, but then later on in the movie, you understand its importance. It's sort of like the ultimate MacGuffin. But, overall, like, and we also have
Palm
Clementif as Paris. She was like just the right amounts of menacing, but also like, you want to know more about this character because they're just so unique. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? But then we also have the two. I think they're CIA, I think, but the two agents that are running after Ethan, that they're basically tasked by the U.S. government.
Shea Wiggum.
Yeah, like Shea Wiggum and what's this other dude's name?
Greg Davis.
Yeah, he's the one that questioning everything is like, hey, are we doing the right thing?
He was like Top Gun.
Yeah, Craig Tarzan Davis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He was
I know who he was. A coyote.
Yeah. It took me until I think the train scene. I'm like, oh, it's him.
So I didn't notice until Zach told me.
Two Top Gunners in this movie, or three, I guess.
Yeah, because Charles Parnell was in that he was in that opening sequence. Oh, and then we talked about new characters like Denlinger, which is like the second, the intelligence director for the U.S. government, played by Carrie Elwes, and I saw Mark Gaddis. He's like the NSA chief. I was like, wait, it's Mark Gaddis. His weird American accent.
But we also had I don't know if you mentioned, but Vanessa Kirby returned.
Oh yeah,
because she was in Fallout.
White Widow.
She is apparently rumored to be Sue Storm in Fantastic Four.
And then my favorite kind of callback from everything was Henry Czerny as Kittredge from the first Mission Impossible. Yeah, I know you were like, yeah.
I was like, wow, he came back.
Yeah, and like he came back, and he's a massive, important part of the entire plot. So it's pretty dope. But going into that, like bringing in new characters, favorite characters. What do you guys think? Like, obviously like Ethan Hunt, whenever he's doing his badassery, like he's
just
great.
sprinting.
Yeah,
like,
there's a couple sequences of just like I'm sprinting and like it's dope and it still looks great.
But long,
I think it
was
more than two.
shots.
I think there was a couple.
Well, because him running in Venice and then him running in Abu Dhabi
on the roof
in Abu Dhabi.
The airport, yeah.
Yeah, the airport in Abu Dhabi.
Then in the party. No, wait, was that?
That's in Venice, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was after Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it is after Abu Dhabi. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, no, okay, because
it's a whole sequence of him running to try to get to get to Grace, played by Haley Atwell. But talk about like new characters or favorite characters. Like, who did you enjoy seeing a lot?
I thought Palm was pretty interesting to see her like come into that type of role, as we were so used to her in Guardians.
Yeah.
What was wild too is that like in the Rome chase sequence, like she was like she went and stole like the giant Humvee, and then she was just like almost like enjoying it. So I was like, oh, this character's insane.
I know it's not
plowing through everything.
Yeah,
it's not exact, but it kind of gives me some like crazy Joker vibes. But like,
I mean, she did have face paint on that one scene.
Yeah, that's when they're in the party.
Yeah,
it's a whole masquerade party
for the party.
What I got a lot of vibes of is a little bit of like kind of off kilter, like willing to do whatever it takes, but also in a sense like I also, if you guys ever seen GoldenEye, there was that one sequence where they're in the really small corridor and she's fighting Ethan and she basically like kind of like vice grips him with her legs. I was like, oh, this is Xenia Onatopp, like 100%. And I was like, man, is this the way that Ethan's gonna go? Obviously not, because there's a Dead Reckoning Part 2, but that sequence is dope, and that whole fight sequence is really cool too, of just like having to like neutralize or incapacitate both of them. And we'll talk about like good moments later on, but you said Palm. Zach, any other thoughts on your end?
I mean, I liked Haley Atwell's character, Grace. Because we get her, as a new character, but I mean, like her backstory and everything. That we get a little bit, as like the story progresses, finding out more about her. But also, I found it funny with some of the scenes where she's like pickpocketing and like reverse pickpocketing.
Like they keep going back and forth.
I think it was pretty cool and really well done.
Yeah, they keep like that lighter. It kept going back and forth of this final like.
It goes towards the end.
Yeah,
too,
because it's like I'm supposed to like sleight of hand. Like there's like 18 moments of sleight of hand. I'm like, how are you doing this? It's like, imagine what's his name from Ant-Man and the MCU, Randall Park's character. Dude, he'd have a field day. He's like, do it again. No, do it again. It's like, dude, the world is at stake. I don't care. Do it again.
Haley Atwell should just stare at the camera and done like the David Blaine, like,
how did you do that? And then Ethan Hunt does it just comes out of nowhere and does it too. And then there's too many of them. Like there's too many moments.
Cheez-Its.
Like
I love that video.
That video is a classic. If you don't know what we're talking about, look up David Blaine's Street Magic. It's a classic.
Like the parody of David Blaine.
Wasn't one of those guys like a famous actor?
Yeah, they're comedians.
They're all comedians.
Oh, okay. Because I recognize the one guy.
One of them was Mikey. Yeah, Mikey Day was there. It was just for a while before he became an SNL guy, I think. But Grace as a new character is really cool because then she goes through a whole arc too of just like realizing things. My whole life's been upended and torpedoed by all the events. Yeah, I did that on purpose. And it becomes a point where like there's small little glimpses also through her. Ethan shares a bit of what happened to him, which is why he ended up having to be on the Impossible Mission Force. Being part of IMF, and like it's kind of like, man, I want to know more about that. So maybe we get more of that in part 2. But good call. I think Haley Atwell, also a big fan of Haley Atwell. She's just amazing. She's captivating too.
I think the only other thing I had seen her in was just the Captain America franchise. That was it.
Should have seen that one episode of Black Mirror. It was a really good episode. Also, Agent Carter is a fun show.
That one I still have yet to see.
It's a fun show.
I think one of the only MCU shows I haven't seen.
Yeah, because it was on ABC for a little bit, but season 2 is really good. That's where basically in Endgame you saw the actor
Jarvis.
Yeah, the actor who played live action Jarvis. That's because they brought him over from
the show.
Yeah, James Darcy.
Yeah,
they brought him over from the show into this, and that was like my yay! Like that was my validation as like a a nerd who watches all this stuff. Yeah, the show exists. Anthony?
I mean, she wasn't in the whole movie, but yeah, Rebecca Ferguson was still badass in this movie. Yeah. And at least before I'm going to do it in air quotes, dies in this movie. Because part of me doesn't believe it.
She did.
Okay, but...
And the thing is, if she is dead, then I will kind of get mad because I feel like it wasn't enough.
She double died.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
True.
Of her.
Well, because just a couple minutes ago, I was looking at the cast listing for part two. Palm is there.
Yeah,
because she's not
she's
dead.
Alive.
They said, I can still hear her heartbeat. They have to they had to add that.
I forgot about that part.
Greg Davis. Greg Davis, like he was like, I think we still have a pulse.
Still a pulse.
Because he's hanging out with Briggs, and they go and find her, and it's just like, okay.
If she had gotten stabbed in the shoulder, then it would have been over.
Yeah. Okay, so I wasn't going to whole thing like,
she got stabbed like in the weird gut area.
But I forgot she
almost got stabbed in the shoulder.
She got stabbed in the heart,
and they said she died.
Dude, she got stabbed in the heart. She did.
Part of me feels like, because the other part I liked of the movie was just the AI in general, how it was just mind games like throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, I love that joke.
Just like
there's always one step ahead.
Yeah, just like Person of Interest.
His favorite character is the entity. That's great.
Yeah, you guys, awesome. Like it's on Netflix. Go watch Person of Interest. Really good show. But yeah, so like with the AI playing all these mind games, and by that point in the movie, by the time she supposedly dies, they already like knew what they were up against. And so I feel like if they wanted to make part 2 like even crazier, to make like a huge ruse of her pretending to die because they knew that she was going to get into a fight with this guy. And so maybe she was.
It was part of one of like
exactly. So maybe
Gabriel said it. He's like, like it's basically Ethan. You hold the fate of both of these two right here. You have to choose who lives and who dies.
So maybe ahead of time they like gave her maybe like more protective gear. So maybe like she did get stabbed, but it wasn't like fatal enough.
And then she just told Ethan something.
Right. And so if she really isn't dead, then the machine doesn't know that she's alive. The machine thinks she's dead, and so she would have to go into like hiding for the machine not to see her.
Which he already told her from the beginning was just like with the whole desert sequence, which is also badass. Of like, so, hey, you need to run, like stay dead.
You have to remember, they've built her up in the past 3 movies. Yeah. She's pretty much as good as Ethan Hunt as like as an agent.
Yeah.
Or like almost as good. Yeah. So like I think this is just
that opera.
I think it would be awesome
sequence in Rogue Nation.
Yeah, I think it would be awesome, and it would make it better. Like if all that was a ruse, because that's what these movies do. These movies do that. Like, how many times are you gonna pull off a mask? But like, it was somebody else. Like it's Scooby Doo. Yeah, it's like a Scooby Doo scene. So like, this could be like the ultimate. Like, haha, got you, stupid AI. Like, we got you back. And then
I hope I'm wrong.
Like maybe she's the one who like. At the end, like in the middle of the next movie, she comes back, lifts up a mask, and be like, "I was in hiding, so this thing didn't know it was me," and she like helps destroy the AI or something like that at the end of the movie.
I will say this right now: if
awesome
that actually happens, I will stand up and clap like.
I think that'd be awesome.
And someone's gonna tell me, sit down." I'll be like, "Shut your mouth." It's Rebecca Ferguson.
I think that'd be awesome because by now, since they have had her in the past couple of movies, people like this character. So like, yeah, it was kind of. I liked Haley Atwell's character, but it was kind of like we brought this new woman in just because we're getting rid of the other one. It's like, that's kind of weird that you're just like quickly replacing her.
That is what they also need to felt like.
Yeah.
But think of it this way, like thematically, like it would make sense to kill off Ilsa because you need someone to help understand just how badass and how important of a threat both the entity and Gabriel as its agent is. Like you need to establish that. So doing so, if they do it in the end, maybe kind of undermines it, but also like at the end of the whole, we're gonna skip a little bit to the very, very end. Ethan kind of mind games Gabriel too. Like he did the mind game because he was almost gonna basically do the thing that he's not supposed to do, in killing Gabriel, but lets him live, and then haha, surprise.
I just feel like the movie went out of its way, specifically with like Luther. When they realized that they were going up against AI, Luther was like, "You can't be doing this because it knows you're going to do that." And he was telling Ethan, like,
"You have to play 4D chess.
You pretty much have to like not be you to mind game
and play
this
logics.
AI." So like after that point, like that could have been them creating this whole plan to like let's make it look like we're doing what it wants us to do, and like so that means Ethan and Ilsa made this plan to like not die, and that means they're both G's.
How would How would they have anticipated the fact that they're going to be put into a sort of like check?
They wouldn't. But I'm just
so they're gonna. They are badass enough to improvise.
But they knew they were gonna go into like this next mission, and so they could have just both or had multiple people on their team wear like extra body armor, knowing that like, hey, one of us might get into a situation.
I think he would have felt, but like Gabriel would have felt.
They showed where she got stabbed. It was like here.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the middle, like where the heart is. Heart is like right here.
Yeah, but
no, heart is a little bit.
Shoulder,
it's a little bit to the left. The heart.
It wasn't the shoulder though.
Your heart's not directly in the middle.
I know, but it's like, not here either. Not where you do the Pledge of Allegiance. It's not there.
It was. It maybe was stabbed downward and in. That dude was good with knives. Yeah, like that kind of like impaling.
And I don't know. I mean, not that these movies are bloody, but they didn't really show blood either.
What
they showed the blood mark on Palm Clemente at the end, like where she was stabbed.
What
I don't know.
What was it? Okay, well, to play devil's advocate for you, what did Briggs say when talking about Ethan? He had said like when they're in the circling the airport in Abu Dhabi, when they're getting the briefing on Ethan Hunt, when they're starting the manhunt. I had to say
Master of Deception, man.
Yeah, he's like understanding that the only way you can ensure this guy's dead is you straight up stab him in the heart with a wooden stake. Like it's just like you need to understand that manipulation, deception. So that is also a thing too. Like he did it in Rogue Nation when they captured what's his face. Like they ultra mind gamed.
And those scenes are awesome.
Yeah, the ultra mind game at the very end, like him getting
even at the beginning in Fallout when they mind gamed the dude and had Benji be Wolf Blitzer and did like the whole fake newscast that the bomb actually exploded, and so the guy was like, "Haha, I did it.
I still won." And you're like, "What the?" You're like, "No, you didn't." Mind games. Like that was out of hand.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, this is 2 movies. So like, if they do that, and if she's still alive, I'd be so happy. But if she stays dead, that would kind of be disappointing.
So I have a question. What do you guys feel? Because we've been going on this. What do you guys feel about it being called Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2, or would you prefer it just had its own like 2 separate?
Well,
titles?
the plot twist could be that maybe they do just decide to change the title.
I don't think so.
That's already part 1.
It's still like the name of it still ties into the whole.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the idea of the submarine,
story,
the position of the submarine right now. It's they did it at the heading based off of Dead Reckoning, and when the AI used the fake torpedoes system to basically blow up the submarine and free itself, because hey, like my source code is stored here on this submarine's like nuclear core, and I need to stop. I need to make it so that no one can come and find that. That's it. Still ties into that. It should still be Dead Reckoning Part 2.
How did water not get in?
How did water not get into what the sub?
Yeah,
it did. It imploded.
It did.
No, I know, but
how did it not mess up the AI? You mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like the AI is living everywhere.
No.
In the beginning scene, they kept showing the AI, and it was like flashing, like letting you know like it's thinking and doing things. They said later that like it uploaded itself like to
everywhere
to the cloud. So like it went from there, knowing that it was gonna destroy itself, to be everywhere.
If I'm gonna do MCU terms, they did an Ultron where I'm just gonna propagate itself all over the internet.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, its source code is still there. The only thing I was realizing, like, how did they guess that the source code was still there? Because intelligence analysts said so. But
because they said the only way to.
That was my own one little code. That was my one little thing. Like, the way to control it is by finding the source code, and the MacGuffins of the movie are the 2 parts of the key that they use to launch the submarine, or sorry, to launch the stealth system that the Sevastopol had. But yeah, like it's still kept spy thriller, but like these intense over the top action. So let's talk about the action sequences. Like, there's no way we can talk about this movie and not talk about how crazy all the action set pieces were.
Garbage. No, they're not garbage.
And there's a bunch.
Do tell, Anthony. No,
not garbage.
We could go through some of our favorites if you want, because there's a bunch.
Oh yeah.
But X.
Man, I mean, I don't want to steal what I thought was my favorite.
Steal away.
I'm stealing it. The whole final sequence of the train was out of hand. Like the fact that they had to build their own train and actually do practical stunts on the top of this train. And the fact that like
on a moving train.
The greatest thing about this thing too is that it also helps tie in a lot of the different plot points together. Like you see that Kittredge is the one trying to buy the keys off of the White Widow, and this is that point where Ethan and Grace have to go in and do the deception of the face mask to get that back, bring it back forward, and then you find out that Detlinger's in there too, trying to push the whole deal, and then create try to make sure that he has his his ace in the hole of like, oh, I know where the Sevastopol is, and so try to propose an alliance with the entity. Like, oh, this is getting intriguing. And then that's also where you have the sort of Gabriel double cross on Paris, because he realizes the entity realized that, oh wait, Ethan kept you alive, so obviously you're going to betray me. But then it's like a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy, and then all these things converge where there's fight sequences on the train. Ethan jumps from the mountain and crashes into a moving train. And
when he crashed in through the window and knocked out that guy,
whoa,
ridiculous.
Yeah, that was that one guy. Just like, okay, now kill her. I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, why didn't you just, if the key was there, why didn't you shoot her from far away? But I don't know. I was like, I don't want to kill her because she's too hot. That's probably the reason. And I that's his name was Zola. So I was like, all right, Zola, I understand that. That's understandable. But then his homeboy got wrecked. So, that even the thrilling point where Grace as the White Widow, is she gonna be outed by Kittredge? And there's this whole cat and mouse of, is she gonna take the easy way out by clearing her name, or is she actually gonna kind of do the right thing and realize hey, that's not a real solution in the end? That was very thrilling too. And then and what was also crazy too is how Gabriel was setting everything up, where he went through, broke the lock to the engine car, to the main engine of the train, and then
the brakes.
Broke the brakes, killed the engineers. And what was really messed up too is that he hung one of them with the whistle, and every time you'd hear the whistle, you knew in the back of your mind, oh man, that's just that dead body just hanging back and forth, and it created tension with the entire sequence throughout all of that stuff. You would just keep hearing the friggin' whistle, even during the fight sequence up top between Gabriel and Ethan. You still hear that. You're like, oh my god! It's just that added bit of tension that just gets under your skin, and you just need it to resolve. So it was that. There's maybe a couple other things I'm missing, obviously after the train crashes and they do the whole Uncharted 2 thing, and it kept escalating and escalating. They're going through the service car and oh no, now they're stuck on oil, and I'm just like, ah.
Seeing the swishing, probably very hot oil going around while they were walking, I was like, I hope that's not real. I hope that's CGI oil, because to me that's the ultimate stunt.
And even still,
the guys could have just gotten burnt.
They got badass boots, but they're still slipping. You're like, dude, get out of here! What's going on? I completely forgot that there's a part 2 to this. So I was just in the moment, man, this is great, and that helps when it's practical stunts.
You can see the quality difference.
Yeah, it's totally there. It's believable because it's real at that point. And props to everybody involved. Props to Haley Atwell that's doing all this stuff with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise being the animal that he is. He's just game for whatever. It's out of hand.
Real quick, did you notice with the whole Grace playing as the White Widow, with the mask, the eye colors?
Yeah.
It kept her eye color instead of Vanessa Kirby's.
Yeah, it changed over because they didn't have they have contacts. Sometimes they do that, but they still have the voice changer piece on her throat, which is dope, and they show that to take it off too. Zach, as our resident racer, what did you think of the Rome chase sequence in 3 different vehicles?
I thought a lot of parts were pretty humorous, when they get into the Fiat for the second part of that chase. But it reminded me a lot of Fast and Furious, because the movie just came out a couple months ago, and they had a similar
1 month
scene.
Ago, dude.
Was it already a month?
Down the stairs?
Yeah,
one
down
was
the stairs.
clearly better than the other.
One is definitely
because
CGI,
one had real cars.
Guys, which one's better? For the record, which one did a Rome chase sequence better than the other?
Definitely this one.
Definitely
it's
Mission
a no-brainer.
Impossible.
It probably cost them more for the CGI than to actually just get a car and like put it down there.
Well, I mean, that has to be a set that they made.
Yeah, that's a set they made.
You can't do that.
No. Of course, but
On
I'm
the
saying
Spanish
like,
steps, you can't.
Not in a city that's thousands of years.
It's not even that. Like, they won't give you clearance
No.
to damage historical
No. Oh, of course,
monuments.
The part where Paris is in that Humvee and just breaks through everything, yeah, that's a set they broke.
Yeah,
but they probably recreated the Spanish steps for the Fiat to go down.
Yeah.
Dude, the fact
But it was real though. Like it wasn't
you
some
don't
weird
see like that weird
jackety movement.
PS2 graphics.
like so 'cause at first it's like they're driving in the BMW. Was it an i4? I think it was. But they're driving in the BMW, handcuffed on the wrong arm with no doors, and
they actually drove that handcuffed.
Yes, they
Yeah,
did.
because
They had to
right
learn
before
that.
the movie, we get like a behind the scenes on the whole car chase, which was kind of like
Spoilerish.
and they're still like sleight of hands with the handcuffs going on too,
which is
like
pretty cool.
which is still like nuts. Like that shows like the adeptness of both characters and.
But I like the little Fiat.
Yeah, the little Fiat. Okay, there was one point at first I thought like, man, okay, this is too much, leaning too much into humor.
Yeah.
But then you just saw like, oh, this is because of how ridiculous this is. Like the whole situation is ridiculous, and like it's.
But
like
it
their
was a
safe
souped
car.
up Fiat though. The thing is, it was needed because it was
IMF
able to
knew.
go around all.
Yeah,
the places
IMF knew
in
like we
Rome.
need to tie through all that. Oh, but when it flipped over, dude, I freaked out. I was like, oh my god, they're dead. Like it's
And they flipped over and swapped places.
swap places. They're both like, wait, what? Like, how do we do this? That was great. Like that was a great choice of humor. Some would argue that the whole point when Grace is trying to drive it, she's just
Just
I'm
a
not
360.
understanding, or like, and even when Ethan's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Here. Yeah, he's just like, I can't handle. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, because the car that they kind of teased was like a Ferrari, was a Ferrari like F12 or something. I don't remember what it was. And then they go to try to get in, but then the Fiat pops out because he's doing it remotely.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, what?
And then, yeah, because I guess he's used to like more modern cars having like the buttons there and stuff. But then
then the
this car
Fiat
does
basically
not
is just
have
an
any-
electric motor going, wing, like go fast and go vroom vroom.
I mean, it was quick.
Yeah.
It was a speedy little thing.
But the whole chase sequence was done really well. Like I think it was, and like the way the camera work and the camera rigs were put on the cars themselves while they were driving realistically, like that was legit. Like that made it seem really authentic and thrilling too. You also have the CIA agents chasing them. You have Paris as the main person chasing them too, and
the police.
the police as its own section, and even the whole sequence leading up to it in like that the police area and just all the mind games and double crossing going on was really fun to see.
And then it kind of ends where they get cornered, and then Ethan backs up, and then he goes down like this. I don't know if it's like a tunnel or whatever it is, and they end up in the subway.
Yeah.
And then Grace gets herself out of the handcuff with a paperclip.
Yeah, I didn't like
and
that.
then with sleight of hand.
Because she's too good.
Well, no, I didn't
down.
like that because you could have just done that earlier.
Yeah, no, she was in a moving car. There's no way she's gonna leave by herself. And with someone chasing her, like no, she knew better than that. And then they're in a situation where they got away from everybody. She's like, oh, this is the perfect
She
opportunity.
actually uncuffed herself earlier, and they show it for like a split second because you see both her hands were free, and she was like holding on to him, and then that's when she
And then she hooked
it to the steering wheel. Yeah, I saw it. I was like, wait, she has both her hands now.
Yeah.
It was like a split second that they showed
never
her.
noticed that.
Yeah.
But then in the subway tunnel, when she cuffs him to the steering wheel, then he's trying to get out because there's a train coming.
Sleight of hand.
And then
He just
I didn't like that
turns the
either.
steering
She
wheel
straight
on.
up was like, "What if he didn't get out? Like, you just killed this man." I was like, "Geez, it's kind of weird."
because the next time she sees him is at the party.
Yeah,
I think she's still in a situation where she can't trust him. She can't trust anybody.
I think at that
I get
point
it.
you could have trusted him. Like, I understood all the other moments before that, but then like you guys just went through this like whole chase together. Like, I don't know why she's kind of like screwed him over there.
No, yeah, I just didn't trust nobody.
Well, she was kind of like a free agent, I guess.
Yeah, she was hired to do the job, and then she was supposed to go to Venice to drop it off and get her paycheck and get on out of here. And then craziness ensues. Danny, we stole some of the big moments of the movie, but any other sequences that you liked?
I like that. What was it? Venice chase sequence where they're trying to get to Grace,
Yes.
And the Rebecca Ferguson fight.
Yeah.
That part was cool.
A lot of the fight sequences, I was going to mention that, like, how did you guys feel about, like, being able to follow the fight sequences, especially since they're trying to do these more practically? Like, there's not a lot of crazy flashy fighting, so it's
But it was very, like,
practical. It seems realistic. There wasn't like shaky
Or, like, in
cam or anything going on.
Yeah,
club or wherever they were.
That doesn't make sense, or that's not real, or the physics. Like nothing felt off about it. Like they looked really nice.
Like in the club or wherever they were at, when they're all talking for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they start to fight.
Yeah, all
those
the
shots
moves,
were pretty cool.
Yeah, all the moves seem pretty, like, kind of straightforward, so you don't have to hide a lot of crazy stuff with, like, wonky camera work. Anthony is normally the best eye on that, so what did you think about that?
So, I mean, you guys have said all the, like, big set pieces already. So, I mean, I liked all of them.
We didn't mention the airport or the desert.
Yeah, the desert part was cool, but it was pretty quick and short. It was cool, though. I liked him straight up laying down with the horse, like,
Oh, that was cool.
hiding from the like assassins that were going to get Ilsa.
Yeah.
So yeah, that scene was cool, but yeah, it was quick. He went in there while the sandstorm was coming, so it's like I feel like part of me felt like this movie was a little bit of like a kind of like a greatest hits of the other movies. I don't know if you felt that.
Even if it's just a setup.
No, like a small greatest hits.
Because it's like part one, so you're like, damn, what's going to happen in part two?
Yeah.
That's what has me like crazy
There's
excited.
already been a train sequence in the first movie. There was a sandstorm sequence in 4.
Well, the train sequence kind of reminded me of the first movie.
Yeah. So I feel like
Red
this
light,
movie
green
has
light.
like small little nods to all the other movies. But yeah, so what I liked, the Ilsa fight versus Gabriel was kind of cool, but it also looked a little janky at times. I don't know why, but so what I will say is like I enjoyed all the action scenes, but part of me felt that those moments, are specifically like the hand-to-hand combat, was much better in Fallout. I think Fallout had really good hand-to-hand.
The bathroom sequence.
scene
We got
alone,
Henry Cavill
Yeah.
reloading.
Henry Cavill reloading, and that whole bathroom fight scene was awesome.
Well, do you remember the story, how long it took to film
yeah,
it?
and that guy whooped both of them. Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. But so like, and like we were mentioning like Ghost Protocol before. Like I feel like between Ghost Protocol
Protes?
and Fallout, yeah, Ghost Protes.
Yeah.
Like I feel like those two probably have like maybe like the most dynamic action choreography,
Like hand-to-hand
but the like ideas and scenes in this one were like really cool and really well done.
Yeah.
I just feel like Fallout was a little bit better in that regard. Like the whole helicopter bits in Fallout.
That was all realistic, and that freaked me out. I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, this Tom Cruise is hanging on a net,
Yeah.
and just there. But again, like, but then there's also Tom Cruise base jumped off a cliff, and they basically broke like 3 motorcycles.
And then he did the one with Henry Cavill off the plane in the other movie. So it's like they keep trying to one up themselves. It's very difficult, and
I just can't
Ever
imagine
since
what
4.
stunt he's doing in part 2.
that's what I'm saying. Ever since 4, they just like try to keep one
Just
upping
going
themselves.
nuts. And again, Tom Cruise, like even when he's like doing all of the press for this movie and like
Well,
little
we
things
have
like
the-
I'm on a plane.
Yeah.
There's another
There's
sequence
no
where he's
plane
just-
in this movie.
No,
it
so
has to
like
be
that's
part
the
2.
thing part 2. It's like, we're filming a scene for Dead Reckoning 2. He's just like, I'm just gonna jump. I was like, okay, like I want to know like how long it took him to get like skydive certified, because like I've looked it up. Like you have to go through like certain amount of hours or like at least 10 different jump. Like
He's
5
got
or
time in
6.
there.
There's like 5 or 6 assisted jumps, and then you have like other jumps that are just by yourself. So it's like I've always wanted to do it, but you have to go like there's a lot of prep for it, and you need to shell out like $2,000.
I'm surprised he hasn't done like a squirrel suit scene yet.
You know what?
I'm surprised.
He's
gone close.
They
He's gone
did
close.
say in this movie that like, you have a wingsuit in here too. So I was like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do
Saving
it?
it probably for the next one.
But and even then, like him when he's like on the parachute, like getting away from the train, he's doing like aerial spin. So I don't know if that's him or not, but like
It is.
I was just like,
I've
that's
seen
definitely
seen
him.
clips online of,
he's
of
doing
making
like
all of those parts.
those spins when I went skydiving, and
Bless you.
the tandem person that went with me, like they did those spins, and that's not easy, and that actually pulls some G's.
They actually didn't show a lot of it because I saw a featurette online and it seemed like he did
They
a
cut
lot
some
more
scenes.
of those scenes of him just like
and he's
gliding around.
just there, like he's probably like off, like because his face is not in frame or anything like that. But he's just like wee, like having too much fun. Like
I mean, I feel like
that's
pretty
goals.
easy because it's just a matter of like
It's
how
not.
you pull.
It's not. No, it's not just how you pull because you have to also take into account the wind. You have to take account your angle of basically like approach, and you have to catch that stuff right. Like there's a lot more involved in terms of like
the same
trickery.
thing with the motorcycle stunt. Like it may seem simple. He's like, oh, he's just driving off a cliff. It's like, but he's not because he has to like also be able to land properly and not fly into the other mountains that are by him.
Yeah, he's like, remember he said, and he even said in the movies, like I have to get away from these mountains.
I have to go far enough.
I had to jump away far enough and then pull the parachute, which is why he smashed into the side of the Orient Express. That was out of hand. But yeah, like
I did like the like very close quarters of that alleyway scene.
That part was cool.
Because
yeah,
it probably
when
was.
he's locked in. Between,
It probably was held to shoot. I'm sure the cameraman was like right next to them trying to
was
film.
rough. Yeah,
because there were some scenes where like they were right behind like Palm Clementine while she's punching him, and it's like
how is
they're
that,
really close.
How is that camera? Yeah, whoever's working the camera, like how are you not like, getting hit by this stuff? Especially with like that lead pipe and other stuff like going on. Like that's nuts.
Yeah. So that was cool.
That's dope. Yeah, it has me really excited for part 2. But Lorne Balfe came back for the score.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
he did fall out, so it's only been these two.
So I'm gonna
Michael Giacchino though, he did 3 and 4.
Yeah, obviously. So I'm gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna bring in my hottest take I've ever had with this series. I did not like the extensive use of like drumline snare drum in this movie and for the score. I don't know why. It felt too like. It reminded me too much of drumline.
Patriotic?
No, it's just like because you have it's in the rhythm of the main Mission Impossible theme, but like it kept distracting me. I was just like I'm not getting like I guess the intended idea of like I guess like these raised stakes where every intelligence agency is now after Ethan, as well as Ascension AI and its surrogate like human avatar running around doing its bidding. Like I don't know, like I didn't get that from it. Not necessarily I wanted some futuristic score, but it was too much snare. Like it's just, or like too much like like honestly, marching snare drum.
I didn't notice it.
I didn't notice
Listen to it again, and you'll hear it more.
But in the score, the parts I did notice were like the nice we have like the strings and the horns and stuff that have like
like that's
the theme.
Stuff with the theme
definitely the
very like Hans Zimmer-esque almost.
The whole sequence in Venice after the party where Ethan is running, but he's getting mind gamed by the AI, so he's going the wrong way. And then during Gabriel fighting both Grace and Ilsa, so that whole sequence,
I think the
music was really good in that sequence. I thought because it was a build up. It was a build up, and then more of him running with more of the build up because like he's not getting there on time.
I'm gonna find a way
it definitely ramped up the tension and the suspense.
I'm gonna find a way to rewatch this again, but like I need to like hear it because like there were certain points maybe I'll be honest with you, maybe I got a bit of like incepted because watching the early access like fan stuff going on in the different red carpets, like they did have like a drum line at one point doing stuff. I was like, and then that kind of put that in my brain.
What he that was like probably one of the main
I would love to get like Lorne Balfe's.
It was pretty good. Like
but
I liked some
overall the score's still good. I just didn't like the overuse of the snare, like of the snare drums. So like that type of, that's just me. Like that was my big thing. I just wanted to kind of throw that out. I was like,
not that big of a take because I actually would still prefer. I liked Giacchino's takes on those two movies.
Giacchino, man. Like,
it's too good.
Not that Lorne Balfe is bad. Lorne Balfe does great music.
Ghost Protocol had great music,
but
especially with like what was going on in those movies.
Alrighty, guys. So. With this being said, this is Chris McQuarrie's third? Yeah, because he did Rogue Nation. He did Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning 1.
And then
he also did Reacher with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, the first one or the second one?
I think the first one.
Who did the second one? I'm curious.
I don't know, but he's also like written a couple movies that.
Yeah, he co-wrote some of these.
He co-wrote Top Gun. I think he co-wrote The Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. I remember that one.
So like he's been been doing things with Tom Cruise for a while.
They're creating a shorthand, man. Yeah. That and like I bet him and Kosinski probably have like a really good like relationship.
Tom Cruise has done 2 movies with Kosinski.
Didn't he do Edge of Tomorrow?
No, he did Oblivion.
Oh, he did Oblivion. That's right. Okay. Well, with that being said, this is the 7th movie in the franchise. Like, where would you guys put it in terms of like the rating? Like, or like, I don't know where you put it in the order.
In the
like
franchise?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you want to go to the entire thing of just, or like, I don't know,
No,
have
just maybe
one of
we'll
us
do it
kind
this
of
way.
like put their take, and we all agree, disagree. You know what? Let's do that, Danny. You've been nominated. So where would you put this? Where would you put Dead Reckoning 1 in terms of the entire series, and then we'll chime in.
Well, like I'll say my 3 favorites. Like I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but it's in the top 3 for sure. We got Ghost Protocol.
You think Ghost Protocol is your top?
Well, no order on this.
Oh,
one,
no
but
order.
top
That's your
3.
top 3. Okay, no
Ghost
order.
Protocol, Fallout, and Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Okay.
So
Better than Rogue
It's actually
Nation.
harder than you think.
It is a
Yeah,
lot harder than you think.
because
Think about
there's
it.
so many good moments and sequences from each one.
I
Maybe
love-
not
yeah.
2, but
I love the mind games in Rogue Nation. Like, I loved all that because it's like it's Ethan tasting more of his medicine of what he deals out a lot. Like, and I
just
thought that was
reversed back to him.
really dope.
Yeah.
That and then Rogue Nation gave us Ilsa Faust. So like that puts me up there, like already top. So obviously
should be last on your list.
This is obviously the last one. I'm kidding. No.
She's dead in quotes.
Well, I'll
So if she's not dead, this movie's your top of your list.
this is like the second tops. Yeah, easy. But I think it is like it's still too early for me to tell if like where I would put if I were to judge it based off of where Ilsa Faust posed it. But like I think like I like those 3 picks as a top 3. There's something still classic for me about the original one.
Yeah.
Like this, like the iconic, bungee scene, the red light, green light gum, like dude, like
The first one definitely.
the first
is
one,
a
like, and
classic.
again had the fun, the really great deception of what's going on and how do we, how do we get yourself out of basically like I'm going rogue, and it establishes that. We all can agree that like part 2 is just like dead last on the list just because it's so tonally different from what the rest of the franchise is kind of about.
It's not your favorite?
No.
No? Zach? Is part 2 your favorite?
Yes, it is. No, I'm kidding.
He's like, which one is part 2? Exactly.
Chimera and Bellerophon. That's all you remember.
What?
The guy who's almost Wolverine, Doug Ray Scott.
Yeah,
He was almost Wolverine.
almost. Yeah.
Slow motion doves.
Slow motion doves. The John Woo special is what I
Rock
call it.
climbing.
But yeah, this one's definitely a top one up there in the franchise. I feel
It's
Top 5.
It's top 7. It's top 7.
top 7.
Top 7.
Um,
Wait, so what's your second worst? 3? Or the first one?
Probably 2, no 1.
Second worst or
Yeah,
best?
second worst. Because you're like, oh, it's definitely in the top 7.
No,
Oh,
I was joking.
Oh,
There's
I
only
thought
7 movies.
let the record show I can't count.
There's only 7 movies so far.
I don't know numbers.
Are you going or am I going, Zach?
You
For your ranking, sort of ranking.
you go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still think Fallout is the best one. Fallout, I think, is really like when
I
I
agree.
remember coming out of Fallout, and I really enjoyed Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation. But then coming out of Fallout, I was like, man, this is the best one. Like, and it was
Dude.
like it wasn't close. I was like, they like amped it up with Fallout, and
Dude, the final sequence
I just
with,
love the pacing
with
pacing
the
of Fallout's
bomb
so good.
and the fact that, that he rips the hook. Dude, that part, man.
And a
It's
lot
so
of
good.
Fallout like brought a lot of the other movies together. Like his wife was in that one again.
Yeah.
And it like showed like her like what he did and like the progression. Like this is why we can't be together because, and she understands
She's a
like
threat.
because you need to be the one doing
Yeah.
this, like saving the world. Like we can't be together because
I'm holding you back from doing what needs to be done.
exactly.
The-
So like
all the impossible
I like
shit.
that they I like the team dynamic in that movie better as well than
That's
this,
true.
than this one.
Everybody seems like at least with Dead Reckoning now that they feel like they're kind of separate, but it's also like they have to be separate because they can, like they'll be playing into the entity's like master plan.
So I would. It's weird because then you start going down the list. So I would probably put Fallout best, and then maybe Ghost Protocol second
Yeah.
best, and I'm not between this one and Rogue Nation as the third best.
Yeah, that's
we're pretty.
I will
similar
say
on that.
I would agree with that. Like I have all of that in there. Like yeah, like
I think I'd have to
basically
rewatch
4
Rogue
through
Nation.
7. 4 through 7 are like collectively in my favorites, and then it's like 1,
Yeah.
3, and then 2.
And the thing
yeah,
is, it's
that's
like,
me.
and
I like 3. Like, granted, earlier I said that like 3
The
is
villain in
awesome
3
because the villain in 3 is amazing.
He's good.
But like,
Owen Davey.
and yeah, like, but then it's like all the others just one-upped it so
Exactly.
well. Like you're just like, holy
Like these
crap.
aren't bad movies. Like
No.
at least for me, like 2 is like an okay movie, but all the other ones are like very good and entertaining.
Yeah,
Or-
2 is by no means bad. It's just tonally different.
Like 4, 5, 6, and 7, they're all rated a 90 and above.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. Like even
I
this
agree
one
with
right
that.
now, like the reviews are out by the time we're even reviewing this, and it's just like universally accepted. Like, hey, this is great. It's a lot of fun. Like a lot of people have agreed with us and saying like, yeah, like Fallout is like the gold standard, is like the tops of what this has done, but it's still like really really good.
What I did like about
Yeah.
this one was that it's the longest one, but I feel like the pacing was done kind of well, where I didn't feel like 2 hours and 40 minutes to me.
I was about to think that, or is this like, man, is this too long? And then I was like, no, like,
'cause
this is great.
I was in it the whole time.
I was
Yeah.
like, damn, it's gonna end? No.
Yeah, and then you're like, no, this is happening
like
now. Like,
if part 2 started right after, I would have sat there for another 2 hours or whatever.
Just like with Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would easily give me another 3 hours of Spider-Verse.
like, Tom
I would
Cruise,
watch it.
Tom Cruise, if you ever listen to this, you'll never will, but if you ever do, like, consider putting out
Just like
a
a
double
5-hour
feature.
a 5-hour
just do a
supercut.
double feature, yeah, super cut with an interlude.
Yeah,
I'll watch
just
it in
do
the theater.
a bathroom break.
Yeah.
Everybody would have gone to the
and
bathroom.
I would have do it. I'll go there, buy this stuff out, and making it work, man. Yeah, like totally the thing. Like that would be amazing.
But yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping my prediction comes true and that she's not dead.
Let's hope so.
I just feel like I feel like
She
her
didn't
death.
die
Let's
with
hope so.
with
I
enough.
feel like her
like,
death would have
enough.
I felt
had
the
more.
weight.
I feel like it would have had
pun
more
kind
of an impact.
intended.
I feel like it
She
would
didn't
have had more. Of
die.
an
She didn't
impact.
die with enough grace.
I
Because Grace didn't
Grace was
die.
there?
She survived. That's why.
I
Grace
felt
could
I felt
potentially
the weight
replace
and
her.
the impact of Ilsa's death, quote unquote. We'll see right now, but I don't know.
Part of me felt like it was. They already faked her death at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, so then that's why it's like, oh, this one's real.
double fake.
Like we're gonna not double
Dude,
fake.
It's Mission Impossible. They always mind game you.
It's impossible.
And
for
all
her
this
to die.
movie was a mind game for the AI. So I
Yeah.
just feel like they could do a super mind game and just like not completely kill her off.
I mean, you can't bring them back in the same movie twice. So just split it up.
Split it up so she comes back again.
Yeah, I mean,
A la Gal Gadot in freaking Fast 10. God, I'm mad at that. 'Cause I'm like, that's dumb.
the next movie will be Ethan looking for the Dragon Balls, and they just need to wish her back to life.
There you
and
go.
it's good.
Yeah, we got it. And we got it.
And one of
Then
the
he has to ride the dragon.
one of the Dragon Balls is where the submarine was, so they have to go down
And the
there
entity
anyway.
is guarding it. Sure.
But that submarine is the one in Fast X, and you know,
Ah.
Oh man,
my
these
God.
combined
Not
universes.
connected.
Okay, no, we're
Family,
done.
family.
That's it. And it's all about family. Ethan's IMF family.
I mean,
Zach,
they both had scenes in Rome. I mean,
Zach, give us your
They do.
give us your pseudo ranking because we can't really.
All right, so my top 3 from 3 to 1. In this case, I think I'm gonna go with Ghost Protocol, and that was the movie that actually introduced me to the franchise. I never saw
fair
1
enough.
through 3
All right,
beforehand.
Fair enough.
I knew of them. I had
pretty good way to
I had
get in.
seen,
It's a good way to
like,
get in.
pieces of it here and there.
Climb the tallest building in the world.
But it is the one that got me into the franchise, and I think it's the one I've seen the most, maybe like 4 or 5 times total. Whereas with the other ones, I've seen at once for sure, twice for some. After that, I would put maybe
Jeremy
this-
Renner was great in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just like he
Ghost-
just
And
disappeared.
Alec Baldwin. What happened to Alec
Well,
Baldwin?
he died in.
well, he died in Fallout.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did Blue.
You also had just for
was Jeremy Renner? Jeremy
Jeremy Renner was
5. Was
Yeah,
he 5?
He was
Yeah.
barely in 5. He wasn't
Yeah,
even in,
in
Fallout.
Fallout.
Okay.
and
Maybe he comes back in Dead
just for a
Reckoning.
very little, you had the guy who was in Lost.
Yeah, I know. That was so cool. I was
But
like,
he died.
I know.
Wait, what?
Sawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Sawyer
He
was,
was in-
Paula Patton's. I guess
That's
maybe
right.
like lover / fellow agent.
Yeah,
And
that
they
was in
show
Ghost Protocol, right?
Yeah, and then
And what happened to her too?
yeah,
never
she
came
was
back?
only in that
Yeah.
movie, which
Oh,
she was
yeah.
cool too.
Just like Maggie Q is only in Mission Impossible 3.
maybe Dead Reckoning 2 is like the Avengers.
Everyone
and
comes
comes
back.
back.
on your left.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
No, and this is the only
Zip,
movie.
no, bungee cords instead of the portals.
This is the only
Okay.
movie that doesn't have his ex-wife. Because I think she was in all of them.
No.
She was in 3, 4, and then Fallout.
And 6.
Yeah, she wasn't in Rogue Nation.
Oh, that's right. Because 1 and 2. Never mind. 1 and 2. They were the other women.
Yeah,
right.
Some other people.
Well, okay, but since 3, she hasn't been. I think this is just the only one she hasn't been in.
Well, no, she was not in Rogue Nation.
She was in Rogue Nation. I thought she wasn't. No. I thought she was in this one scene.
They showed her in one scene in Ghost Protocol, but not
correct.
Rogue Nation.
Okay, no. There was the scene at the very end of the movie.
Exactly. That's correct.
I thought maybe she was in a quick scene somewhere else before, and then that was it. It was like a 5-minute scene.
No.
Really?
Not in Rogue Nation, no.
Oh, okay. I think that's my least memorable.
Which is why it was surprising that they brought her back for Fallout. I was like, oh.
But I feel like with Fallout, that was like a
they closed
end to it.
Yeah, it was.
And I mean, also, unless they do like at the very end of the franchise, but at least 6 with Fallout, I think they ended it.
That's what makes Ilsa's thing even worse, because like they were kind of making it seem like, well, you can't have like a real wife, but like
work wife.
Yeah, he has like a work wife, and she's, stuck with him now for 2.5 movies, and it seemed like they were gonna, work it out.
I knew someone was gonna die in this one for sure. I just didn't expect her to die.
Maybe she's not dead yet.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
All right, Zach, what's your number 2?
All right, so number 2 would be this movie, because
Okay.
I do like Fallout the best so far, but this one, like these 3 are very close. 3, 2, 1.
I think like you, me, Anthony, we'd have that pretty much.
And then Rogue Nation would be 4th if we're doing.
Yeah.
But for my top 3 would be those. So
Okay.
So Ghost Protocol, this one, and then
this one and Fallout.
So this one's in everyone's top 3.
This one? Oh,
this one's either my 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
No, this is I think my 4th.
4. Okay.
Yeah, because I like.
Even for the previous 3.
So the top 3 for me would be Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol, and then Fallout. And then this one 4th.
Okay. Pretty solid.
And then the original 5th, Mission Impossible 3, very close 6th. Because it was sort of like a re-jump of the sequence.
I would have put
3 above 1. I don't know. 1 to me is just classic. Like it's iconic. And then 2. Again, like Anthony said, 2 is not a bad movie. It's just
compared to the other ones.
Totally different.
Yeah, totally different.
It's just we wanted to make an action movie instead of a action set piece spy thriller. But that's where we're at right now. Hopefully this list gets amended when part 2 comes out.
Well, is part 2 going to be the last one supposedly, or are they going to make another?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. There's rumors of another one after, but
Tom Cruise said he wants to be doing these movies until he's 80 because he looks up to Harrison Ford.
So he's got like 18 more
Indiana
years.
Jones when he's 80.
Good.
Like,
I mean, we can keep making these.
So
there's
that's maybe
2,
like
but they
5
could
more
do
movies.
More. Like,
Yeah, they
it's
can
not
do
like
more after.
They never said this was the final one.
Yeah, and they're setting up other new characters to either like keep a new team or pass the torch. Like they're making this stuff happen.
Well,
Haley Atwell is the new leader.
With what Danny said, because I think of all these other franchises that have done like part 1 and part 2, like Harry Potter or Twilight
Hunger
or
Games.
Hunger Games, Into Spider.
Well,
Spider-Verse,
Spider-Verse, they
across the
changed.
Spider-Verse.
It was going to be part 1 and part 2, then they dropped the part 1 in favor of just like a different subtitle.
title.
But Fast X.
Fast X.
Yeah.
Now they want
but
to
they're not
say
saying it
it's
as part
3.
1 and part 2. That's the.
I think it will be
Yeah. It will
Fast
be a
X
part-
2.
No, I'm saying like it won't be like part 1 of the title.
Is it 10?
Like
10
how,
yeah,
like
but
how
I
Harry
think the
Potter
next one will be
part 1 and part
X-2 or whatever.
10-2.
Yeah.
Oh, God, help me.
I think so.
Okay, we're getting away from that. No. Okay. So, very good. So, in a wall agreement, the movie is awesome. Go watch it.
Yes.
Go watch it in whatever formats you can.
do Dolby because our sheets were literally.
Why were they shaking?
They were shaking.
That was
There we go. The
Seats
sound
were-
design in this movie was excellent.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
sounds like-
all the impacts, all the shots, all the explosions, all the car
I think this
crashes,
is the
everything
most
just
I felt the
and the
seats
seats were
shake.
shaking.
Yeah, it wasn't even 4DX.
In
It was
Dolby.
like-
Yeah, I was just like, this is great.
That was like,
We're getting
like
value.
a
true moving
magnitude
audio.
1, 2 kind of earthquake.
Yeah, we're getting value. I'm getting some value out of this.
That was just my
I
stomach.
think that's like the
rumbling.
first Dolby movie I've seen that the seats actually shook.
Yeah, dude. Maybe they just retuned it. Well, my seat
Super bass.
would not let me reset from the recline position.
yeah,
I was like,
it was
screw
broken.
I was
I
like,
know
whatever.
it was
I'm just
broken.
stuck in recline forever, and I'm cool with that. But being I'm not. Go ahead.
Didn't they say they filmed 1 and 2 together?
I could have
Yeah.
sworn they did.
Well, yeah,
right?
'cause
So
it
when
comes out
is
a year
part
from now.
2 coming out?
A year,
Next year.
June,
Next year?
June
Yeah.
28th, I think is
Okay.
what it was.
So that's what I was a little surprised they didn't show a trailer for it.
No,
Maybe they didn't want to show any spoilers.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Because then it would have gone online, and then
Maybe
people
towards the
would
holiday.
it would have spoiled people for what happens in this one. I guess.
At
Well,
first,
it's
I
gonna
was
be
like a
editing.
little like
I don't
at
think
first.
they put enough for a trailer.
At first, I was like a little miffed about that, but I thought, you know what? No, like create a full-on trailer of this, big spectacle of what's going on.
Yeah, because they probably don't have enough edited to make a trailer.
I'm sure they do if they filmed it
They
all.
do.
If they already filmed
Trust
it.
us that they do.
Probably just holding
It's
out
just
for like
post-
some big
post,
event. or
yeah.
Waiting for the movie to release.
Well, that's something like with post production, a lot of it's going to be some like fine tuning with the editing. I'm sure they have not what they want for a trailer yet, but I'm sure we'll get something
Soon.
by Christmas.
Oh,
We'll
for
see.
sure. By
Yeah.
Christmas.
By Christmas.
Between October and Christmas.
I
I'm
mean,
sure
remember
we'll
we
get
had the first trailer a year ago during Top Gun,
That's right.
so they've been kind
something.
of.
Well, how long had the movie already been filmed? When
They're in the
They
middle
were
of filming
in the
part
middle of
2.
filming it, I think,
Yeah,
last
at least
year.
part 2.
Like during
Yeah.
COVID. Like, you remember those the audio files of Tom Cruise screaming at people during COVID? It was for this movie.
Yeah.
So
we
like
need to
so we're
do
talking like
this.
2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were filming
Okay,
both of these
so-
together. So
Okay, so then they had
They
the
might
first
be
movie
almost
already done.
Yeah, they might be
when
almost done
when
with this.
Top Gun came
Yeah,
out.
this
So
is
they-
in post.
that was
remember,
already-
Top Gun
yeah.
was done like at least a year, almost 2 years before it released,
Yeah.
finally.
Yep.
Because they delayed it a lot. So
When does Dune come out?
November.
November this year.
November, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we might get something during that.
Yeah, that's a Warner Brothers thing. So you may or
That
may
would be
not.
my. Oh, true. I guess Paramount.
Yeah.
Kind of not competing, but like
November 3rd is Dune Part 2.
But I feel like it might be around that time, like around
Yeah.
the time that Dune comes out. We might get
they might,
something.
or like if part 2 comes out the same time, like next June or July,
Yeah, it's June.
they
June
might just
20th.
wait till like January, December to get like the 6 months time frame.
Are there any big movies in Christmas or right before
Aquaman.
Christmas?
Aquaman.
Wonka.
Wonka.
I don't know how
Wait,
big
so
that will be.
Wonka and Dune Part 2 are coming out the same year?
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet, he's everywhere. That's Chalamet. No, I'm kidding. All right. So, this was a really fun discussion. I know next time we're gonna jump right in to another big release that came out during the summer. We're gonna be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But before we do our sign off, we'd like to remind you all to go ahead and follow us on all of our socials. Look up Popcorn Watchlist, and you're going to see a lot of the community outreach we have, fun polls, questionnaires, and open discussions about some of our favorite topics and what we've been going through. So if you want to join in on the discussion with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, go ahead. Go ahead and grab whatever social media tool you have. You're on Twitter, Threads, Instagram, and should you choose to accept it, go ahead and keep the discussion going. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that, everybody. So with that, folks, tune in for next time again. We're gonna go right into the Dial of Destiny, and until then, we will see you next time. Keep that popcorn going.
Bye.
Later.
This podcast will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Thank you, Anthony.